All right, so we're doing audio check.
Audio check.
Are you ready to start the show?
I am ready to start the show, I think.
Welcome to the Gravel Lot, the place where bikes are for everyone.
The Gravel Lot podcast is presented by Be Free Ride Bikes Apparel, providing a fully customized cycling apparel experience to provide you and your team the attention to detail and personal touch that you deserve.
And also brought to you by Grimpour Brothers Coffee, offering handmade coffee roasted weekly in small batches to give you the finest quality coffee to start your day. Choose their subscription service and earn your free bag of coffee today.
Also by BioWheels Fit Studio and Workshop in Cincinnati, Ohio, offering you a full host of bike fitting services intended to provide the cycling enthusiast with the most efficient, comfortable, and sustainable bike fit they have ever had.
And by the Ritual All Natural Skincare, providing small batch, handmade chamois cream custom blended for your team or shop right here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Contact us today to learn more.
And by Hand Up Gloves. Great gear, better times. Providing a wide range of apparel for bikes, snow sports, and golf in multiple designs and fits to let your personality shine.
Our goal with the Gravel Lot is to inspire cyclists of all stripes to ride bikes, share their story, and have fun. We love all bikes and anyone who wants to ride them. So no matter where you sit on the spectrum of bikes, we'll always have a place for you in the Gravel Lot.
And now, the hosts of TGL, John Woolry and Doug McClintock.
All right, there we go. Hello again, and welcome back to the Gravel Lot, the place for all things bike. And no matter what ride you are on, you will always have a place here in the Gravel Lot. I am John. The other guy is Doug, and we are so happy that you found us. And I am so happy that I got that right, and I actually slowed down to make sure that I did it correctly. So
Can everyone hear us, right? Can you all hear us? That's the most important part. I think you can, because if you can hear us, then tell us. So.
Yeah.
At any rate, we are super glad that you're here. Whether you're an existing Pebble or a new Pebble, welcome. We are so glad that you're with us. If you like what you hear, make sure to press subscribe or follow or whatever is endemic to the system on which you are utilizing or listening or seeing us. We would appreciate that. Comment down below, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on all the socials. We are at the Gravel Lot. Tell all your friends. And if you want to, go become a patron over on our Patreon, like all of the most loyal Pebbles, and we know you are that.
And for those who aren't, you're probably asking yourself, what's the value of becoming a Patreon supporter of the Gravel Lot? Well, you will have access to our I don't know if you can get access to our endless gratitude, but you will have it because you guys are the primary supporters of this show, just like when we were on Wide Angle Podium. Without you guys, this show does not happen each and every week. We are not able to fund the internet and podcast service and web streaming and all that stuff. So thank you for all of you for being a part of that. But second of all, before recording this, Doug and I just recorded two recap videos from the Caleb Swartz episode as well as the Dr. Tracy Berman episode, and so you can hear what our thoughts on not only episode but like our primary takeaway from each one of those episodes. You'll also get the ability to ask us whatever you want, in just like we're doing an AMA with Cody tonight. You'll be able to send us your questions, and we will respond via a video response on Patreon. And you'll also get sneak peeks of some of the projects that we're working on. So a lot of stuff in the works, a lot of really cool people that we are excited to bring you, and a lot of cool projects that we are working on for 2021. And you'll get sneak peeks of those things on our Patreon account. So we don't have levels. You can contribute whatever you want. You can contribute 50 cents. You can contribute $50, whatever it is. It doesn't matter, because it all goes towards trying to help us make this thing and make the cycling community a better place. So submit us your questions. Follow us on social, like Doug said. We also have the voicemail number at area code 513-400-5577. So you can send us a text message. You can send us a voicemail. And then we'll answer that question on said Patreon account. So
yeah, for sure. So do all those things. Go see us on Patreon. Good content coming that way. With that out of the way, John, how has the ride been for you this week?
You know, I knew you were going to ask me that. And I knew that since we flipped up the intro, that I would be the first one to answer, and I wouldn't be able to think about my answer while you were responding.
See how this works?
This week for me feels kind of purgatory-ish, just because there's some things going on career-wise, work-wise. It's starting to get nicer out, but it's not really there yet. My wife is still really committed with a lot of things that she has with her work, so our weekends aren't fully opened up in terms of like we can go hike and we can go bike ride and kayak and do all those outdoor things together. I'm between first and second Pfizer shots, so I'm not like really comfortable going out into the world. So there's just a lot of things that are like this weird shade of gray in the middle where I just kind of feel like I'm floating. And any of you that have been listening to this long enough know that I like solving problems. I'm very binary. I like black and white, and I don't do well with the kind of purgatory floaty vibes. So I've just felt kind of not lost all week, and just trying to focus on do my workout, be process driven, like get up, take a shower, like do that stuff, make coffee, like the very basic stuff that a lot of you might take for granted. But that's the things that I'm like finding odd comfort in, is just trying to kind of check the boxes until some of this time passes and things start to feel a little bit more active and a little bit more energized. So that's me. What about you, Doug?
I'm good. I'm really good. Had a good weekend. It was a little cooler, but got out anyways. And Ellen and I took the BMX bikes to skate park that is nearby over in Anderson, which is a little bit east of us here. And if
How
you ever want to be,
how are your abs?
they're looking.
I know everybody is concerned.
Everyone's concerned. They're shredded. But it is the most humbling experience to like watch these little kids with no fear and like no potential of like really breaking an ankle because they're basically made of chewing gum, like flying around on skateboards and jumping over cones and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And I'm just like, I think I'm gonna roll into this area here and then ride up this area. It was a very different thing, but it was cool. Ellie rode a little bit on that stuff and we worked on skills and stuff as we were riding around, but it was just kind of cool dipping our toes in the water and that stuff. We still suck at riding BMX bikes, but
So what
I don't know,
what skills were you guys trying to focus on?
working on manuals and bunny hops, like it's just a very different thing when you're doing it on pavement. And you don't have control over your rear wheel the way that you can cheat on a mountain bike clipped in. So there's a lot of things I can do on a mountain bike that I can't do on a BMX bike, which I'll be better at doing on a mountain bike when I can do them on a BMX bike, if that makes sense.
Yeah, transferable skills. And it's a lot easier to move a little BMX bike around than it is, a full suspension 29er.
I don't think so.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, I don't think so, but that's just me because I'm used to moving a full. It's like
Right.
different mental block.
Yeah.
So working on those, it was fun. It was good.
And you were close. You said chewing gum. It's bubblegum and magic. Remember, those are the ingredients to make little kids.
What do you think? What do you think bubblegum is? It's technically chewing gum.
I know. I'm just saying you forgot magic.
I don't believe in magic anymore. I believe in.
Do you play D&D every other Monday? Like
that's
like the.
It's fantasy.
Dang it. Okay, I'm gonna lose this discussion. But yeah, I think it's important to note that I feel like all of us were that like fearless kid. I have scars all over my arms and legs from doing stuff that I think about now, and I'm just like, but you're naive. You don't realize how bad that stuff can hurt or how it can ruin the next 8 weeks of your life.
Reset, right? It's a good reset for you to be like, okay, like I have a different level of risk management now, and that's cool. and I think that like you kind of learn that about yourself, but it's kind of exciting and fear inducing, but also kind of cool when you can achieve something. So we're looking forward to that.
It's got a name.
Yeah,
401k risk management.
Correct. Exactly. Don't want to dip into the retirement yet. So make sure everybody to drop AMA comments in. We'll have an AMA with Cody after this. So without any further ado, I do want to make sure that we get him in here right away because we are so stoked to have a returning guest today. Originally joined us at the end of season 1, where we talked all about his story and his stuff, becoming a pro bike racer, and how he became Cody wrote it, right? Like how all that stuff happened. So we're excited to talk with him a little bit about where he's at right now in the present and the future with our good friend, Cody Kaiser. So Cody, welcome back to the Gravel-Lot.
Thanks for having me.
We are stoked to see you here. You have the beautiful bike shop background. You are at the family shop out on the West Coast, and looks like you guys have been having a heck of a year, huh?
Yeah, it's been interesting for sure. Yeah, in the shop right now, middle of the day out here. It's only 3:30 our time, so I still had to get the work done. And I was actually just talking to Paul right before. I was like, "Oh, headphones are on. I got to get back."
You're like, "Oh, I can hear something. Yeah, you got to make sure you keep them in line there. But I mean, who do you have to ask if you can have this time off?
My boss is okay. He's an average. He's pretty good at what he does. He lets me have some time from here and there.
That's good. Well, I mean, it's cool. You have if you guys haven't listened to the first episode, please go back, check it out. It's an awesome time. Cody was actually in town and was able to join us in the studio, which, geez, we haven't been in the studio in forever. So we were able to like hang out for a while. And I think that weekend you threw your sunglasses at me and I saved them for you. I remember that, I think. But, we know that you have a family business, and we've talked to some people who are in the bike business from the aspect of, hey, we're working on stuff. How has it been for your shop in this crazy pandemic bike boom bust cycle and scenario? What has this year kind of been like from the ownership and working in a shop perspective?
Oh, I think, I mean, like anything that's recreation, it just went through the roof, and we sort of, started to, I mean, it started out with, we weren't sure what exactly this whole thing meant. Like, can't remember the exact terminology they're using, but, forced lockdown. Like, are we going to, get arrested for riding our bikes, to then figuring out that we can be open for essential business and transportation, and then bikes become a key part of everybody's lifestyle, with gyms being closed and looking for anything recreation, and kids are riding bikes, but then they have to have now parents riding with them, and it just went through the roof. And yeah, it's been one heck of a year for sure.
So
Been full gas from the start.
if you think back to that initial reaction, because we're now almost to the day 1 year anniversary from a lot of things like going completely sideways and upside down. So from that point of you're feeling like, I don't know what's next, the business is getting shut down, that's your family's like primary livelihood, and especially until that point of being declared as an essential business. Like, walk me through kind of where your head was at and where all of the staff's head was at.
Well, as far as like the actual timeline of it all went, in California, San Francisco shut down before LA and San Francisco shut down. They had quickly established that bikes were part of transportation in the big cities. So bike shops were considered essential. So Sacramento comes into the play, really the whole state, so to say, but Sacramento comes into play for getting shut down. And, we quickly had to, figure out what exactly it meant, what to do. And once there was, precedent already set in other cities, we knew that we were fine. So we never actually closed down. One day we didn't close it for an hour. So the whole time we've been open, been operating, it's funny to look back at what we, were doing then. We didn't really do anything. We were wearing some gloves. We had, alcohol and sanitizer everywhere, and, trying to clean stuff. And then it's morphed into a lot more since then. But yeah, we didn't change any operations the whole time, realistically, as far as the business goes.
So, you go through all the physical changes, right? And to figure out how to stay open and serve people who obviously need to be protected. And you got to make sure all of your employees are protected and doing all that sort of stuff. But there's this additional pressure that not every other industry has had. That is availability of, I don't know, anything.
Anything.
Yeah, just like tubes and parts, and whether it's hard goods or soft goods, but there's this immense increased level of demand, as you said, from like families trying to get out and recreate. And you're in California, the weather's generally nice. Sacramento's got pretty decent weather most of the year, and you have this massive increase, but a supply chain problem. What have you guys done outside of what every other bike shop has done to kind of try to figure out how to maintain like relevance and get through that supply chain thing in your own community? Have you done anything special in that way? Have you like unlocked any new boxes?
I think just one thing that we decided, or, not really decided, just kind of in our own, makeup anyways, is that we were going to get whatever we could get, and we could, stock whatever we would stock. And if we had to start selling this, we'd start selling that, and start selling that, we'd start selling that. Where I think a lot of shops, because what basically happened is like, obviously the sub $1,000 bike was popular, right? But then you start to creep up, and once those are gone, the guys that are folks that were willing to, spend €1,000 are now okay, sort of going to 1,300, right? And then it kept going up and up and up and up. And where other shops probably were, maybe a different mindset, not to, throw anybody under the bus or bash anybody, but like, oh, I'd never stock an S-Works level bike. Like, no one would ever buy that. We just kept buying, like, whatever we could get, we're going to order. And it keeps selling. Like, there's a customer, for any bike, there's a chair for every seat, every ass. And so we just never stopped, buying whatever we could get. And so that kind of kept us rolling. I think where a lot of folks were, didn't want to go there. They didn't want to risk that.
So do you feel like, looking back on it now, do you feel like you saw kind of where we are now, April, May of last year, of whoa, there is no availability. We were talking before recording, you're still struggling to get, up to the $5,000 bikes in your shop. So do you feel like you were kind of seeing into the future a little bit by just purchasing whatever you could get your hands on, knowing that eventually somebody would walk in the door for that bike?
Yeah, yes and no. I think we definitely saw it coming. Yeah, it was pretty easy to see that it was going to come. And we just, yeah, I don't think we really planned it, but it happened to work out in our favor. And it was a little later than April, but yeah, by the time, rolling towards the middle, heart of summer and end of summer, that was pretty much like what was left, what was left. And we had to start getting creative for sure.
Okay, so to that point of being creative, like when you start to dry up the inventory, that's when the bike shop as a service industry becomes even more important. So what are some of the things maybe that you guys have added, or the services that you guys have seen kind of explode through the summer of last year, fall, winter, and now into spring 2021?
Services, they have to go beyond the service department too, so we have to focus on education, on, getting creative with, all these new riders. What do they want to, where do they go to learn stuff? Like, yeah, you know how to ride a bike, but, there's some flow to it, and you got to, know what's right, what's wrong, where to go and not to do. So, a lot of education style stuff. With all these new riders, we've seen a huge uptick in fittings, and we've seen a uptick in that side of the coin. So it reshuffled. It just changed its course, or it just amplified its course, I guess, really. But I don't think we really had to innovate all that much. You just sort of had to not think your hair was on fire to realize it, like it's all right in front of us. Half the time I think everybody thinks that their hair's on fire, and it's actually not.
Especially when you're especially when you're in a situation where the bike business is like, man, if we could just get more people into this bikes thing, maybe we could get some more people into this bike.
Oh, like the last 10 years of
right.
narrative ongoing.
Right.
Yeah.
But
and
when
then 3/4 of the people are then like, why are these people in, they're taking out my trails and they're taking out my pay. It's like, dude, this is what you wanted, right?
Right. Yeah.
I know. I'm pretty stoked about it.
So because of that, right, you're seeing this massive influx. How you just said you're stoked on it. You're out there. How does it change how you, Cody, interacts with those people and these new cyclists, right? You said education and looking at that in a different way. How has that changed your interaction, out in the world as you are, not only athlete Cody, human being Cody, and business owner Cody? Like, how does all these new people, like, what are you doing to unlock that, and how are you interacting with them as Cody?
I don't like, not necessarily like anything to unlock, so to say, but just like I've just begun to see how the normal cyclist and how the recreational cyclist thinks, how they act, how they ride, what they want to get out of a ride, what they want to get out of their bike. Like, it's not what we do, it'd be like trying to ask somebody to, drive a Formula One car to work. Like, they want something very different out of bikes, and they want something.
I'm fine to drive an F1 car to work. I mean, it may take an hour to warm up, but I'll do
it. When I ride my F1 car to work every morning, and when I see what everybody else is riding, I quickly realize that it's a whole different market. And I think it's cool to at least see that, and to know that there's, a whole nother side of things. And, I've seen people get into cycling through this and have bought multiple bikes already within the year, which is crazy to me. But they're so in love with it. I've seen people, see it as the light at the end of the tunnel, where they can like get on top of their health now. There's I've seen everything, not everything, but I've seen so much in the last year. It's pretty cool. And you just got to cater to those people, and you got to, listen to what they want and give them what they want.
So what about you personally? I think any of your followers who watch your vlogs or kind of follow you on Instagram know that for you, like, late spring through the summer it's your fun. Go play mountain bikes, go do the gravel shop ride, and go really have fun on your bike, which is what I think, like, back to that F1 commute to work thing. I feel like that's what the fatter part of the bell curve where most people lie is, I just want to have fun on this thing. I don't necessarily need it to do anything, magical for me. But like, walk us through how this unfolded and how it changed your last year, but more so kind of through the lens of how you were interpreting it personally and what you felt like it was doing to you. Because I think we all have our own unique take on our own kind of emotional roller coaster that we've been on for now the last 12 months.
Yeah, I mean, once I realized that, we're all, it seems like the common saying anymore is like, we're all in it together, but like, it's no different for any of us. So you can either, get upset about it or get stressed out about it or get, irritated or whatever, or you could just like go along with it and be like, well, is it really all that bad? And, going to ride bikes and going over here and doing this and doing that. Like, is it all that, all that terrible that we, get to hang out more with people around us? We get to ride bikes at home a lot more, and they have like less travel. So I didn't really have much of a problem with it. I definitely miss bike racing. I miss the battle royale that usually comes with racing, but not a whole lot really changed, as far as like how I look at, riding. Still doing the same stuff I've been doing and having fun doing it. It's just a lot more riding by myself or, and riding around California.
Yeah,
Really just riding around Sacramento. I haven't really left Sacramento.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and of course not, right? You're at this during the fall and winter. What would you have been doing? You would have been crisscrossing the country. You would have been like dealing with like planes and bikes and baggage and doing all that stuff to go to these races and do all of that stuff. But it sounds like you pretty pragmatically were like, well, this season's a wash. Like, yeah, this isn't going to happen for basically any of us. Like, as you were watching other people trying to piece stuff together and find a way to do things, were you like fighting that demon inside? Like, man, I really wish I could be doing that thing, but I have these other responsibilities. Or did you just quickly early on say, I'm putting a pin in this, I'm going to hang out here and do this?
Yeah, more the latter. And I think having all of this, like, I really didn't have much time to, like, I had to be here. We had to be here. We were all hands on deck, open and close. I mean, early on during all of it, like, we were here probably 8:30, work until 8:30 at night, like just trying to get, caught up, because it was sort of like one big load. Dump truck dumped everything off, but then it stayed the same, but we got that dump truck. And so then we had to like try to get at least that pile down to then get back to normal. So I quickly realized that, this is just what I got to do right now. And I think a lot of times all of us in the bike industry, or in bike race athletes in general, are always thinking like, well, everybody else is doing this and I need to be doing that. And for me, it was just like, this is what I got to do right now, and this is what's in front of me, so I can not get stressed out about it and just like do the best I can do and get through it. And it'll be there when I come back, bike racing.
So everyone needs Cody chill. Like, everybody needs to tap into the Cody chill. Cause I'm like, man, Cody, can I call you when I'm feeling anxious?
Yeah,
it is. Yeah. It's just making me feel better about any anxieties I have. And I don't have nearly the anxieties you have. So if you're somebody that, from being a teenager, you've defined kind of yourself in the fall and winter as cyclocross athlete, and you had built your own program with Lang Twins and Specialized and a couple other partners. So when you had gotten to a point of, this ain't gonna happen, not even on a local level, like, this just ain't gonna happen, what did you do? What did you set about doing, and how did you open up those conversations with those folks of, okay, not this year, but can we, like, how did you navigate that? Because we've had some folks on the show that are right now in that process of, I lost, my main sponsor or a couple of my main sponsors, and they're not coming back anytime soon. And I'm curious, one, how you are going to move forward, say for 2021 cross or 2021-22. What's your sponsor situation look like, and how did you navigate that by having those tough conversations?
Yeah, I mean, the sponsorship's staying the same. Everything, I haven't really put a whole lot of looking into, this coming, looks like to be like end of September season getting started yet. that definitely, needs to go into my notebook of things to do. But, last year, I think talking with everybody, it was kind of like, hey, this is, again, we're kind of all in it together and we're figuring this out. Luckily in the bike industry, things, bike sponsors, I should say, things were still rolling and bikes were coming out and new products were launching. And so having the skill set that I have, I was able to sort of use those in my favor, to not only rely on, being a guy that pins a number on, being able to create some stuff and tap into purchasing, new purchasers with products. That wasn't really a big issue. And luckily Lang Twins, close enough friends that, they understand, and same thing in their business. It was sort of like, hey, we got to figure out what's going on first. And I felt like everybody for the most part was kind of like, hey, let's hit pause, and we'll come back in a little bit. I didn't really have much pushback or pressure where it was sort of like, well, you're not out there racing and we're not going to be doing this because you're not racing. So maybe I'm fortunate to be in that position and not have to rely 100% on bike racing to, allow me to do what I do.
Yeah, it's a different kind of calculus, right? Because you're saying, hey, I'm pushing pause. Can you push pause? Instead of, hey, I'm going to try to do this thing, but I don't know if I can bring you the same value while I try to do this thing. Can you support me while everything's going topsy-turvy? It is kind of a different calculus in that.
Yeah, the people that I work with in the industry, in the cycling industry, it was sort of just like, all right, I'm going to take off one hat. Maybe I've worn two for a little while. I'm going to just take off one for right now, but I still got the other one that I can put on or still have it on.
So with the hat that you took off, it's coming back on, I'm assuming, right? Like you're gonna put this hat back on and dive back into this thing, right? Is this like, or like, I know that you haven't had those conversations, but are you having those conversations internally? Like, are you coming back to racing next year? Are you going to make a season? And we've got worlds here. We've got, 3 World Cups. Like this is a kind of big American season to some extent. Are you eyeing it up?
Yeah, definitely. I want to get back to racing. The one thing that I've missed this entire year is just the battle royale of, pinning on that number and seeing who shows up at the line, with on that day with racing. Training's definitely is training, but the part of bike racing that I love the most is just going out there and showing up. So yeah, I definitely want to have a full cyclocross season. I want to dive into all of that. I definitely had different plans going into 2020 with, what sort of my off season was going to look like. And I was going to race a lot more in the summertime and was actually going to kind of take a step back in the cross season that would have been this past one, just to mix it up, to get fresh. I raced cross since I was 16, pretty full time with really nothing else. And I started to begin to get stale with it. And I started to begin to see the same events like get smaller and smaller and smaller, and some even fall off the map. And that was kind of discouraging to me. And I was seeing other events pop up, and that was encouraging to me. And so I was like, hey, I'm going to go down this other, go down these other paths as well. That didn't quite happen. So, this year, those things are starting to come about. This year, cross is starting to come about. So I need to figure out some more serious real talk questions with myself, but I'm definitely still down to bike race and still down to pin a number on. We actually had the last 2 weekends, we've had some racing come back to NorCal for the first time at all. So I went to both of them, and yeah, I'm still stoked to pin on number and go fast. And I somehow remembered still how to do it too. So didn't lose too much.
So do you feel like the pandemic was that kind of forced reset button for you to help you kind of recalibrate like you're talking about? No,
it was just so full gas. The thing that I was longing for, I didn't get to do. So, hopefully it comes around this year and then I can go for it. I was really longing for, long racing that just like, frankly, kind of beat you up. And at the end of the day, just really had you.
Sounds like you're talking about BWR.
Throttle beyond. Exactly. Yeah. Like that kind of stuff. Like just get done and just have a huge plate of food and a thing of Coke and just, be like, that was, I left everything out.
Into
go night night.
Yeah, exactly. Like as much as I love
any ride, I go on. That's like if I like try to go to work, I get there. I'm tired. It's over. It's only been 8 miles, but I'm done.
Bring tacos.
Yep. I just was kind of longing for that, like, the hard man attempt, so to say.
So what do you think about that for you is so attractive?
I think it's just a little bit of a new challenge. I think it's a little bit of, me, looking for some growth in cycling. I haven't hit the pinnacle of cyclocross racing. I'm not, I'm still showing up and giving it battles and, finishing in the results I do. I'm not just walking away with stuff,
Right.
with results. And so not that I've gotten stale with the cross, but like I said, I think the sport, I've just watched it, I sort of got into it as it was on the incline and I watched it to its peak. And then I began to see it sort of fall a little bit. And I definitely want to keep to interject as much life into it as I can, but I was looking for something fresh. And growth as a racer, growth as a, enthusiast of cycling, just wanted something new. So that's why I was, looking for those longer events. Plus I did a couple and I kind of liked how I did. I liked where it took me. I like, all those things.
So when you look at you coming in a space where you're seeing a sport rise, right? And everything has ebb and flow, right? It's going to have this kind of in and out. Like how do we as people who are part of that engage this kind of new group of people that you've talked about that are coming in, like to get them interested and maybe grow these spaces, right? We have all of these fresh bodies and all of these new people who are like, oh, maybe I'd go watch this, or maybe I could participate. Like, is there an opportunity that you see for whether it's you or the organizations around you to kind of lean into that, to get them into these spaces, to help inject, you're looking for new challenges. Not everybody gets to be Cody Kaiser and gets to go do the things you've done, right? But how can you provide that kind of that roadmap for those folks?
I think it's already out there. And I think that, the gravel word is a pretty, in vogue word right now. But I think that it's because it's the most appealing to these new people. And even if people who have been longtime cyclists, they're falling into this because they're not a road racer, they're not a cross racer. And I think that this zone is allowing people to do that. They're away from cars. It doesn't require a license. It's not, it's not the pro biker or just in general bike racing thing. It's like accomplishing a marathon is all it is for people. And it's, doing an Ironman. That's all it is. It's the accomplishment task. And that's where you're getting these new people that come in. Now, how do you make that turn into cross, or how do you make that turn into road racing? That model work? I don't know. Truthfully, I don't know if the people who steer the ship can allow it. They might internally combust. But I think that the gravel space, I'm a big fan of it, but a lot of people that want to continue to sort of talk down about it, they're upset that it's growing at the rate it's growing at because it's so appealing to people. But that's why they should be, happy that it's growing at the rate it's growing at.
It forever confuses me why people think that any organized event necessarily has to be a race. Like every 5K, every 10K, half marathon, sure, there's a race. I've never.
There's a dude who wins for sure.
I've never.
Somebody wins.
Yeah, I've never been a part of that, but I've been part of doing my own thing, and that's what those endurance races are. And I'm curious to just, like, I guess pick both of your guys' brains. Like, that is possible in road racing, in crit racing, in cross racing, but what's keeping us from being able to accomplish that?
I don't think I think it's the category thing for one. I don't think that it is possible in the current, not that cross needs to change. Like, that's cool because it is what it is, right? And road racing is what it is. But if you're going to immediately put people into categories and tell a lot of people like, oh, no, you got to be over here, that's going to be a bit of a pushback. Like, all the events that you're going to do all summer long that would fall into the gravel category or the mixed train category or rides like Belgian Waffle Ride, it's literally like open and just age groups. And the age groups are in 25, or 15-year increments. And that's it. Like, you got your short distance, you got your long distance, and you got your age group. Pick whatever you want to do. And Like, I'm going to show up to an event to try to win, but there's going to be another dude that's going to show up just to finish.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know that I'm not there just to finish, and I don't know that he's not there to win. It's like, but if you immediately show up, pin a number on, oh, you're in the C class, you got to, go through the 5s, the 4s, the 3s, the 2s, the 1s. Like, it's too much to onboard personally.
So do you think that I've always wondered this because I don't get to ask this of pros. So do you think that creates jacked up competition between, Cat 4 masters who all think that they are the cow's pajamas? It's different than the cat's pajamas. And it's the one that has the fake udder on the front of it.
They're also larger.
Right. Just like the Cat 4 masters. But all of those dudes are like, no, I'm the toughest Cat 4, like, and it creates this like really toxic like competition where the fun of what John's saying is like the fun of me going out and trying to race a cross race that I am completely not qualified to go race, right? It's me against myself. I'm never going to win the thing, but I'm still trying to do better. Do you think that like that categorization creates this tension? Because I feel like it does. I feel like it creates this like, I want to go beat this guy, anger. And it kind of feeds that stereotype that we get pigeonholed as.
I mean, I think that the competition thing is good. Whatever you want to get into, I think that competition, it makes you more motivated to do something. It makes you more, I think that we all want competition. There's always the bad guy that we can picture in our head right now. But I don't think that the categories, provide that competition. And I don't think that, there aren't people that wouldn't act like that in the open classes too, because I know they do. So I think it's just more just the fact that there is a wall there, there is that category.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing.
I'm thinking about, and Doug, I know you've done these, and Cody, you might be familiar with them. We have, before the cross season starts at Kings, we have the weekly kind of CX time trial series. And it's 3 people leave every 10 seconds. You can pick to do 1 lap, 2 lap, 3 laps, or 4 laps. Each course is designed by a local team. And it's just timed. You have no idea who the fastest person was. You have no idea who male, female, age brackets, none of that stuff. They don't fixate on the fastest lap of the night or the fastest 4-lapper or anything like that. It's just go do your thing on a course that it has stakes. It doesn't even have tape or a course. So if you need 30 feet to go around somebody,
is it right-hander or a left-hander?
Yeah, I think they've gotten to a point now where they're good enough and they have enough cones that you can get through that.
I've also been trying to teach them how to do like autocross cones locally, and it drives me crazy. Like in autocross, you have a down cone pointing in a direction, that the turn is to the left, right? And every time I knock the cones down intentionally, someone comes behind me and sets them back up. I'm like, if you just taught people how to set cones like autocross, we'd be fine. Well, at any rate,
yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway, like divergent aside, but the whole premise of it is to go out, give people a comfortable environment where they can do it at their own pace. They can go warm up at their own pace. There's not an announcer. You don't have a sign up with officials and a whistle to start and all the things that cause stress. And that's what got me into cross. And then eventually, you transition to the local opening race of the year it's a little more production, but it's still not a stressful environment to go to. And you like take those baby steps versus thinking about the first road race that I went to that was like a bunch of dudes on $8,000 bikes getting ready to go ride a Cat 5 race, and they literally leave the parking lot, and I'm like kind of stretching my neck out thinking it's, we're going to warm into this, and they're already 30 mile an hour and pinned. And I'm like, wait, what? How is what's but just the contrast of those things of if you put Doug and I on a county road and we pass one of those like signs that says like beware for motorcycles, we already know that's like green flag. That is like we're going to race to that sign. And so we don't need categories to be able to compete against each other, to upload something to Strava and compete against ourselves. But I think all of us, Doug and I especially, and it sounds like kind of you're there too, with getting interested in a lot of these rides that don't have categories of what can we do to make this more inviting, make road racing, crit racing, cross racing, mountain bike racing, all of these things more accessible and less of a barrier to entry to folks, period, before 2020, when now we have all of these new folks that are buying nice bikes and buying bikes capable of going and doing these events at a pretty good level. And I'm really worried when we start to go back to bike racing that we're going to screw it up.
I don't think that there's a one equation answer for any individual discipline of cycling too. I think that what's going to work in gravel is not going to work in cross, and cross is racing. That's what it is. We're on a closed course. It's about racing, like that. That's it. But I do think that that's why those categories are on such a massive upward trajectory is just because there isn't that such big, and it's really a really small barrier, invisible barrier, but such a big barrier to entry. Where do I start? Am I this? Am I that? Like, it's just like, oh, well, this is my age group and I can sign up and feel pretty confident in myself to finish 50 or 100 miles. So I don't think you can do this in cross. I think it's very different for sure. But I think that there's things that we could do to allow more people to get into it.
And I think that watching and learning those lessons, maybe we don't know them yet. Maybe we can figure them out as we continue to tinker with what this kind of open format of stuff is. But I think it is interesting to see, because ultimately you got to open the funnel, right? So if the funnel is massively wide and we have these open events, people who get up to the front, right? The people who kind of end up in the front and are like, oh, I looked in the results sheet and I was racing with Cody Kaiser and all these other pros and I kind of hung with them. Maybe I could give road racing a try. I think that we have to think about the entry point as broadening it all, because even though right now you got a lot of folks like yourself who are like, hey, I want to go give myself a different challenge. I think we can I think we can open the funnel, and then that will grow the other categories that have been having trouble growing for whatever inaccessibility reason they may have.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just, it's just putting it in front of them, more than ever. Yeah, you're putting something new. So there's going to be people that are going to hop on board for sure. They're going to try the next thing.
Yeah. And if you can see yourself and you're like, I just did 100 miles. That's how long today's tour stage was. How crazy is it that they did 14 of them this week, right? Or whatever. Then you're like, maybe I should watch this. This is crazy. You start to kind of at least tickle that part of people's brains where it becomes something that they're associating themselves as part of. And that broadens their horizons to look at this stuff.
Yeah. And I think that I see it here in this store that there's a pretty big push into just say high performance road, right? For customers that are coming in that are younger, that are, sort of not a cyclist at all. Their first gravitation is to high performance road, to aero bikes and aero this and the race category and that whole just speed thing. So those people are there, but I don't think that those people would ever show up to a race too. So it's sort of, the sport is growing in we'll say in this space, but yet the sport isn't growing in the race space because there's a big disconnect, that wall. The number of young kids that I've seen walk in, not young kids, but, younger dudes that have walked in that have told me about somebody that they follow on Instagram and they want that exact tarmac with aero wheels and, SRAM axis stuff. It's like, okay, well, dude, that's going to be your first bike. And they're like, dude, yeah, it's dope. Gotta have it, So
you're like, that's a whole lot of bike.
Yeah. And they're just going to rip down the bike trail and, but that's what they want. And, that's, so there's people that those bikes are selling and those people are attached to road racing, that picture. but yet they may not ever actually race. So how do you get them into a big event?
I feel that.
And that's a really, I never thought of, and I don't know why. I think that's again probably part of that like weird insular nature that we have as cyclists. Of that's its own influencer category, is just like people watching somebody like Tyler at Vegan Cyclist and watching what he just did with Jeremiah through Death Valley and thinking like, wow, that's awesome. That's crazy. I wonder if I could do that with my local gravel road and not even necessarily do, 7 days and whatever, 1 billion miles. And then he breaks his femur at the end of it with like 6 inches to go. Regardless.
Oh, you missed. Oh, feel free.
I don't even know what's happening.
It's
but okay.
so
go check that out on YouTube.
It's right at the end of the ride. He's coming up to like their support camper, and he like tries to do like an Anthony Clark skid, and his plant leg is too far forward, and he falls right on his hip and cracks the crown of his femur.
Who? Which one?
Tyler. So he's like a mess right now.
It's out for a while.
But
anyway,
do this like crazy, incredible,
do some curls.
Yeah, crazy, incredible, like difficult process, and inspire people along the way that may have no idea what road racing or crit racing or cyclocross or any of those things are, but can still inspire them to go be a part of the sport. But it seems like there's developing 2 different levels of this sport that probably more than that. There's like the people that aren't at all interested in flash. They just want to go ride and be healthy. And then there is that like post-influencer piece of it. But then there's the people that want to go race. And I think it's about how do you somebody finding something on Instagram is awesome because that's where they're getting their visibility from. And I'm part of me is wondering if cross races need to start to partner with gravel events and have some of that cross-pollination and with open arms envelop some of those things, because I came across my first cross race here at Hardman Park completely accidentally. I never knew it existed, but once that light was kind of turned on for me, I was like, this is awesome. This is what I want to do.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, that's a really good point idea. I mean, it's one of the biggest, spectacles I think in cycling. It's, entertainment for sure. And I mean, as you're talking, I was like thinking about, not to like bring it up and then not talk about it, like a really deep like hole of potential like things with correlations to other industries with the rider and the purchaser and the sport that is. But I don't want to go there. But yeah, the cross thing that like, call it an exhibition, like an exhibition thing on a Friday night before BWR. Like, who isn't going to show up to drink a beer and hang out because they're all there from across the globe, right? In San Diego. Like, why would you not put a cross race there? Or why would you not? And if any freaking race promoter out there steals our idea, this was our idea. Remember that right there. That right there, dude. Cincinnati guys thought of this. Don't let anybody else.
To be fair, like Cross Vegas was already this thing where everyone's already there.
And what was the highest attended race in the freaking world,
Right.
Yeah, Brooke knew what to do.
It is about putting eyeballs on this thing, right? And this is something you've been doing for a long time. And, you were doing it through social media for years now. And we talked about it last time we were on, like what that process looks like and kind of what you were doing in that space. Now, certainly over this year, you've had your focus on a lot of other things, right? You've been doing other things, trying to run a business and take care of all that stuff and keep that piece of it afloat. And so you've kind of taken a little bit of a frequency break on vlogging, which is understandable given all that stuff. But there have been all these kind of like steps that we've started to see from other professional contemporaries of yours going into this space and saying, okay, now I'm going to become a vlogger, or I'm going to start making content of some sort. What do you like? What is your opinion as someone who's done that for a long time about what is happening from all of these people who have nothing but time and need to get out on their bike, or else they're all going to go stir crazy making content, like as someone who was doing it already when that wasn't the only thing to do.
Okay, what do you want me to speak about that? I'm not,
like how, like, as someone who was doing it before, there's been a massive pivot now. And all of these people are creating content because there's not any races to go do. Like, what has that been like, observing it from Cody's perspective as someone who had already been doing that stuff? Like, who's doing it well? What are some of the innovative ideas that you're seeing? You know, what are you appreciating out of that, and where are the pitfalls?
Well, I think like one thing that has been really successful, or the guys who are being really successful, is they're always are telling a story. And with everything that is 2020, they sort of set out these like personal challenges and they documented it, which I think is engaging, right? You always got to tell a story. So like the Everesting thing, or guys doing the White Rim Trail, or, you know, whatever else guys want to do, folks were doing out there, those storytelling things are, you know, appealing, engaging. And then the random picture that is just like, oh, hey, here, like I'm riding bikes, and, you know, these are my sponsors. And the picture is just literally a bunch of black dots. When you click on it, you know, it's nothing but linked pages. That, you know, that would be the other side of it. You got to tell a story. But, you know, if you're not in it for the right reason, or you're not enthusiastic about why you're doing it, you probably aren't going to have much success doing it. I think that's where those stories have success, is because the person who's doing it is so enthusiastic about that thing that they're doing that they're like, oh, hell yeah. And that was me with the vlog. Like, I was really into, and still really am into, cameras and editing, and I watch that stuff and I pay attention to what's going on out there. And that was probably why I, you know, kept it going for so long.
Is there any of these folks that you find yourself following? And for everyone listening, when Cody was here the first time after the show, we talked about the podcast that he listens to, and talked about some of the other things that he's engaged with. So, yeah, we're not gonna like let you talk about fishing and things like that.
You can talk about fishing if you want to talk about fishing. Let's talk about fishing.
If it can make content producers for bikes and cycling better, then hell yeah, let's talk about fishing. But is there anybody in the cycling kind of realm that you follow and thinks is doing it well right now?
I mean, truthfully, like, no offense to anybody out there, but I don't really follow many cyclists because they don't do it right. And just because I don't need to scroll Instagram. I don't really want to scroll Instagram just to see the same picture from a bunch of different people, you know. Dudes that I follow that I really like what they do, Spencer Rathkamp out of Southern California, I'd probably put right at the top of my list. Known Spencer for a long time, and he's from a marketing background, so he definitely gets it, but he does some incredible things. Short videos, cool edits. Jimmy Smith out of Boulder, they're almost kind of a duo. They both ride for Specialized too, but didn't previously, so it's not like I have that just tied to them. But those guys, they do some really cool content. I think Colin Strickland is definitely at the one of the top of his game. I think that's why they're successful. I know Colin from racing on elbows, so that was kind of how I first met him, and he's been the same the whole time too, which is cool. It hasn't changed. Other cyclists that I would
out of cyclists, because you said something that I think was important, which is, hey, I don't really feel like that's where the best of it is. Where is the best of it that, like, Cody, who's been making videos for however God knows long, like, what are your inspirations like right now when you're like, okay, this is somebody who, no matter the market, whether it's a computer or a fly rod or a bass boat or whatever, like, where's the compelling content coming from?
Well, I tend to gravitate like towards people and the things that I'm into, and those people that are in those. So, like, I follow a lot of stuff with fishing. I follow a lot of stuff in the truck world. I follow a lot of ski stuff. The guys who tell those like really compelling stories and have incredible photography or videography skills, I tend to end up following them a lot. There's a couple of dudes that are from Vancouver, one guy from Vancouver, a guy from Washington, that are in the fly fishing world, that they just know how to put a picture out there. They know how to, tell a short little story that, they do a really good job. And you just immediately are like, I just want to go to some rainy river and like try to catch a huge steelhead. Like that's what I want to do. And guys, I just watched a truck video where these dudes drove from Salt Lake City to Tahoe, and they drove the Pioneer Express Trail the whole way, 5 days, unsupported, no gas stops, no anything. And like just the storytelling of it was really, really cool. And I read the YouTube comments, and it was just nothing but a dumpster fire of people harassing them about how they only drove on like basic dirt roads. I'm like, yeah, but it's still the story of it. And it like made me be like, dude, I want to go drive my truck from Salt Lake to Lake Tahoe,
But it's also good to know that in other subcultures, they tear each other down as well. It's it's like good context for that.
Yeah. The guy
from the troll.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the guy clearly doesn't care that he puts out what he wants to see,
right?
Through his own content, and he doesn't care what people say. And I hope a whole lot more than 50% enjoyed it, and the couple of keyboard warriors hated it, but who cares? Like I enjoyed it. But yeah, I think you just got to tell a cool story and engages people.
It's about narrative, right? I think that's like anything that we care about is about narrative. Well, I mean, that's why we read books. That's why we watch movies. Like we want to be told a story that like gives us an emotional connection.
I'm gonna quick scroll through my Instagram. I'm gonna find something.
He's like, I've got a name for you.
Yeah.
But like something that has that connection for us where we're able to like clue in on it and be like, oh yeah, that is a thing. And I think that one of the challenges that we sometimes have in whatever thing we're into is seeing somebody who's doing the thing in our space really, really well, and then being like, I'm just going to go copy them. I want to do exactly what the person in my space is doing because it appears to be working for them, and I think it's cool. I challenge all of us to look outside of where we already operate endemically to find inspiration from those other places, because those are the places that you can find like, oh crap, fly fishing, rainy shots. Like who's doing rainy shots in cycling?
Yeah.
Nobody.
But I end up finding myself, like even in the cycling world, it's what I like, right? But I end up finding myself hunting down those photographers that just have those like nitty-gritty pictures and being more gravitated to them because they have that narrative. You can tell in one picture, you can just tell that you're like, I know what that dude just went through. I know that she just gave it all and she's, flat on her back at the finish line. The tank's empty, and you can see that in those pictures. So I end up gravitating to that too, but yeah.
Hopefully as a culture, we start to get there and we start to get away from the look at how rad I am in my new kit. And I just rolled out and I'm not even sweaty and both of my bottles are full. And like anyone that actually looks like, if you really look through Instagram and you look at the photos and like make them bigger and look at it, it's like, that's the same outfit that you had on for like 7 photos ago and then 7 before that. So you just went and shot 20 photos when you like rolled out before whatever ride you went on. And then you're just like sprinkling them out. And it's like, that's not curating any sort of a story. Like, cool that you own that stuff. That's neat. But what are you actually putting out into the world? And I would like to think that we're moving more towards a point of like, maybe the photos aren't amazing, but the story makes up for the fact that you maybe shot it on an iPhone 5.
It's authentic.
Yeah. I watched cross country skiing. I was watching the women's relay the other day, and there is a story about these girls, like Team USA. I don't know a whole other story, but I followed them since the last Olympics, and the Team USA is like never been in contention ever for.
Yeah, it's always
for
like Norway and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep. And these girls have completely rallied together to bring the entire team up, and they compete against each other, right? But they brought the entire team up, and I'm watching the highlight reel for them going into the World Championships, and you can just tell you're like, dude, this, like, I want them to win. And like, obviously I'm gonna pull for the Americans, but like, I'm like, dude, they are crushing it. And then you see these like slow-mo photos and they're like drooling. And I'm like, dude, that's like so engaging. I know what they're going through. It's just like, you got to get behind them because they're trying so hard. And then you see the finish line, and like, that's the kind of stuff that is like super engaging. Like, give me something. Don't give me some fake photoshopped picture. I don't care.
Yeah, I want to see Matthew Vanderpool sit up and cross his arms, right? Like,
Yeah.
like, I mean, that's like, I want to see your real emotion. That's a hell of an emotion to be able to have. But also, like, there's reality in those moments, and I think that it is hard in our influencer culture to like actually capture that. And while it's been awesome that there are a lot of people trying to make content to feel like they're making themselves relevant, I think that there's been a lot of stuff where people are missing the mark because they aren't telling the story that's authentic to them, as opposed to trying to tell the story that they think that people want to see. Instead, if they just told the story that was really about themselves, like, we would all be far more engaged with it, right? Like, as silly as it is, a friend of the show, Becca Farringer, giving us her Tinder experience in Belgium was super engaging. Everyone was like, this is totally hilarious and weird, but thank you. This is your actual life. And I think it gave people a like, this is a real human being doing a thing. And that's, I think, what people want from an engagement perspective is not, it can be beautifully shot, it can be well done in that way, but if it's not honest.
Yeah
100%.
Yeah, I'm like tying it into these like ultra endurance events. I'm thinking about Unknown Country with Jake, and I think Justin and Jake went into that. Justin Baylog, producer director of the movie, I think they went into DKXL thinking Jake is going to smash this. He's going to ride on the front. It's going to be this great accomplishment movie. It's going to document his whole process about all these people that were engaged in it. And he falls apart. And the documentary takes this like really real turn of, watching the conversation with him and his wife of, do we keep going on? And you can see kind of the fear in Jake's eyes and his daughter not understanding what's going on because she's never seen her dad in that position. But keep rolling, like keep that, taking that. Because to see somebody that I look at, like I put somebody like Jake or somebody like yourself on, you are like one of my athletes. You are somebody that I would look up to and say, like, yes, you do. I am on the same course, but you do a different sport than me, and I admire the fact that you do it differently than I do. But to be able to see that as like, okay, I have a crap day at work or whatever, and something doesn't go well, the presentation doesn't go well, whatever happens, pick yourself up and you figure out how to keep moving on. And it's nice to be able to have access to seeing those sort of things, and for Jake and Justin to be open enough to continue to produce that after they had another 20 hours of footage after Jake was like, I have to sleep because this isn't going to happen. But to then continue filming and then actually go through the post-production process to make it and to put that out into the world to show that this is okay, that there is something bigger than winning bicycle races. So important for kind of the heart of the sport, for the gravel kind of world in general, and just endurance sport overall. Of like, it doesn't, if we have learned nothing from Lance Effect, that like maybe winning isn't what we always need to be focusing on. maybe. Yeah,
that personal challenge. I think that's probably what I sort of have been looking for too myself. Just I follow people, and the people that I follow, they're doing these grandiose things. I'm just like, dude, what if I did that? What if I did this? What if I did that? Like, finding that edge,
Yeah.
Because like you find the edge in cross racing and in like you're, turning yourself inside out to go hard, but that's a very different edge. It's not a point of an exhaustion edge. It's just like an actual physiological like edge. You're just like, I'm going as hard as I can, and I'm breathing as heavy as I can, and I'm trying to put as many watts as I can. And you do sort of, you always keep fighting, but you do sort of hit that wall.
Yeah.
Because it's so short term. But those, like, that's a totally different thing about just like staying focused and then going on this roller coaster of, capacity, bodily capacity and mental capacity for 7 hours. Or is DKXL is 350, right? Or 300?
350, yeah.
350, yeah. Dude, like doing that, like, dude.
Yeah, it's
a totally different thing.
Yeah, and like, I mean, we're all car guys on this, and I always compare that, like, when I first was talking to Doug about cross racing, it was like, you're going to spend, if the race is 40 minutes, you're going to spend 39 minutes and 40 seconds on your rev limiter, just like pinned on the chip. Whereas doing an endurance event is, how can I hyper mileage this and get the most out of the gas that's in my tank?
Got to drive this TDI across the country.
Right. And how can I use my last drop as I cross the finish line and do my, which I think the next big event that I do, I don't care where I finish, I want to do that, like that as my post up.
I'm gonna do that, and then I'm a wreck right across that's how that goes down for me. But I think this is neat because you're approaching it this way, and I feel and I hear this kind of like hunger in you to explore Cody just as much as it's exploring like your physical capabilities, but you explore a little bit like in your noggin and kind of dig into some of that stuff. I mean, 2021, you're gonna obviously probably do some cross races, as you've said, but like, none of us on this call's racing age is getting any lower. Are you're looking at changing things up a little bit? Like, are you looking towards the future in a different way? Are you looking at like what's beyond racing, or are you just like, okay, we had a weird pause, I'm going to dive back into racing and then figure things out from there?
Yeah, probably just that. Probably just, I know that it put on pause. I'm not, I look at long-term goals, but I don't necessarily worry too much about like what might come 5 years from now. It's more just like what's, stay focused on what you want to do right now. Don't, the rest will follow, kind of a thing. So I don't think I really am making decisions based on where I'll be in 5 years or where, the sport might be in 5 years or whatever, but I think just something fresh, some fresh blood. I definitely have some excitement about it. Whatever it may be, just something new, something fresh.
You can feel it. So, you can feel it every time you talk about it. Like you light up just a little bit every time you talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know what it'll be.
So what
I think a lot of it's too, like kind of almost, for so long I've told people that like I'm a cross racer and I do this and I do this. No, dude, I don't do that. And therefore people also sort of like have written me off for other things too. So a little bit of that.
So when you think about these, we've been talking about them kind of ethereally, and we mentioned BWR as kind of in DKXL as well, but I'm not doing DKXL, don't worry. It's not called that. No, I think your response to that was like that 350, 300, 350. No, I think that that was pretty clear. But when you're talking about these, do you have some that are kind of the sparkle in your eye? Like, what are your 2021, 2022, I want to do these events where when I finish, I am laying on the ground and someone is like feeding a burrito to me because I can't sit up?
It's, BWR is one of them. I've had two chances going at it, and I've had bad luck in both of them. So that one's kind of, two flat tires in both. So
sticking your craw a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely want to do well. And I think that that's something where I like that race because it's sort of a game as equipment and type of rider as to who brings what, card to the table, which I think is cool. Yeah. And so I always err on my weakness on the power and roads as I ride a road bike, because I know I can ride that on the dirt. Where you get these other guys that ride gravel bikes and they try to ride it on the road. And so I like that appeal a lot, and I think I can use it to my advantage. The 2 years ago, I did the Oregon Trail gravel race, and that one's cool because it's a little shorter days, not such massive things like 4 to 5 hour races.
You gotta watch out for dysentery on that one.
Yeah, exactly. So I like that one. Yeah. I was doing pretty well on that one, and then last day kind of fell apart, so I kind of found the edge on that a little bit. I like that idea. Those are the two big ones I have on the calendar. Other than that, no, I don't have any massive things. I was gonna do the Tahoe Trail local one that's kind of a longer 60-mile mountain bike race, but that's the same week as Oregon Trail. So there's a couple. I think this year the racing is like one a month, so there's not a whole lot, but those are the two on the calendar that I'm looking forward to.
That's cool. I mean, I think it'll be neat to just like be able to like set a couple pins and things. And now that like spring's here and the seasons are kind of, letting you, get away from not just skiing and the other things that you actually, like to do, you have other opportunities and you can start kind of back on that training. I think it's going to be a neat season to watch everybody kind of go into whatever space they want to be, and maybe even people stretch their legs in a different way. So
Can I think we all assume you're going to all of these events to go win? Not
Yeah,
not just
I'm
figure
a
out
competitor.
how deep
Yeah.
Cody can go.
Yeah, I'm a competitor, and I think that's something that needs, that's like something to look at that's different. Is like I'm doing the longer events to go, to push a little bit farther, but I'm not looking to like just to go to like empty my body to oblivion. But I'm picking those events because I think that I can be competitive with the right approach, and never before have I really given it the right approach. It's always been like, well, I'm a cross racer, like I was saying, and I'm a cross racer. I sort of used it against myself almost with my attitude
It's
towards
an
it.
easy excuse of like, well,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't have to put expectations on myself.
correct. Where
See,
now I
this
think
is
if I
why.
actually prepared for it, I think I could do well.
Right. This is what I tell myself as well. But then I'm just like, I'm not going to train because I'm just going to be garbage at all of this. Because then I don't have to put expectations on myself. Unlike you're actually going to put expectations on yourself. So I understand that.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
dude, we have some AMA questions we want to get to. Obviously this has been good to like catch up and chat and stuff. Like we asked you last time, what do you want the Pebbles to think about in this crazy pandemic year and kind of take home from us just chatting right here before we dive into some AMA stuff?
I don't know if you're new to the Pebbles, or if you're a newly founded Pebble because you're into cycling, like stick around. It's pretty fun. If you're, if you're a new 2020 COVID cyclist, I think that you should definitely stick around. And when those gyms open back up, don't go back because it's different for sure. Cycling's a lot of fun, and everybody else is a returning guest, recurring follower, I guess. I don't know. Don't worry, your hair's not actually on fire.
I was
The world's
going to
not
say
burning
that no
down.
matter what you said, I was going to come back and say, if nothing else, everybody should take away your mentality from this conversation because
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
every question was aimed around like, oh, this last year sucked. We've all lived an emotional roller coaster, and you're just like, yeah, man, like it's cool. 8:30 to 8:30. I worked. We had a full truckload full of bikes. It's
I ate
fine.
a burrito.
It's fine.
I did a video about shoes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, what are you gonna do? It's, and I know a lot of people like getting much more like grandiose. So with the, overall look of it, I know a lot of people are really having a hard time with this and struggling. And so it's not fair that I just have that attitude, or at least can have the ability to sort of go with the flow as well. I definitely understand that. But I mean, I think if more people realize, be grateful for what you have, and then makes everything a little bit better,
Yeah. A lot of
Like,
people have it. A lot of people have it far better than others, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like in our world, like we don't have bike racing, right? So like if you should at least be grateful for everything else you got to be able to go and ride and train, and everything else that sort of got opened up because we're not traveling around in, like the way that I look at it is like, man, I've had the ability to do a lot more this past year than I ever could before because I was usually going and blowing, everywhere I could go is, so
Yeah, there's an
not that bad.
interesting takeaway from this past year around just that whole idea of by stripping away all of it, it really makes everybody focus on the things that you actually care about and that are important to you and help you kind of just reset on, okay, I thought that was important, but I really don't need it as much as I thought I did. So then when it comes back, hopefully everybody starts to appreciate bike racing as a bonus. And for everybody that's not paying their mortgage by bike racing, acknowledge that this is something that not everybody gets to do, and it should be a privilege.
And if you're paying your mortgage by bike racing, let me know how you do it.
That's a whole different conversation.
Cody Kaiser, care of.
Yeah. I think we've asked Rob enough questions and thrown enough arrows in USAC's direction for the past month.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not their fault. No.
Well, hey, just, wherever you can get the cash, right? Wherever you can
Yeah.
get the cash, for sure. So awesome. Cody, stick around. We're going to bang out some questions with the AMA. Always a huge thanks to all of our Pebbles, old, new. We cannot do this without your support. As always, make sure to subscribe, click the like button, follow us on Twitch, and visit thegravelot.com to learn how to become a Patreon supporter today. We are so thankful for all of you who have already become supporters. Folks, it's a great way to do it, whether it's 50 cents or $50, as John said. We'd be happy to have you aboard and catch some exclusive content.
And in addition to realistically, your support really keeps this whole thing running. But we have partnered with some amazing companies that we think you guys would really enjoy being a part of, because we love their products and we wouldn't be talking about them and giving you guys discount codes unless we thought they were amazing. So we want you to go click these links. They should be in the show notes. Go support these people, use the discount code, and make your life just a little bit better, brighter, more interesting.
Absolutely. Our good friend Adam at Be Free Ride Bike Cycles is cycling apparel. Geez, I can't even talk today. Is bringing this episode to you. We've been riding the Be Free Ride Bikes kit for a number of years now. Adam and the entire team at BFRB does an amazing job with custom apparel, custom fabrics, whatever. Some of the best chamois. I think that anybody I know who's ever ridden those chamois is like, nah, I don't want to ride anything else. I know a team locally that was like, oh, we're going to order some stuff. And then they now have just made an order for their custom kit with Adam, because they know that people were like, no, I want this delicious chamois underneath me for the 2022-21 season, whatever it is. So make sure to go to bfrbcycling.com and take a look at how they can help you and your team and all of your friends get outfitted for your upcoming wonderful riding season.
And we are also supported by Dan and all of the fine folks and their amazing hand-roasted coffee at Grimpour Brothers Coffee. Follow the link in our show notes and head to grimpourbrothers.com now and get your hands on amazing coffee that supports great causes in cycling and the broader world. Don't forget that if you sign up for a coffee subscription service, you can earn a free bag of coffee, and I'm not going to penalize myself this week for wanting to drink nice coffee every day. I had a couple people to say that I should stop doing that, so I'm going to stop doing that.
You should definitely stop beating yourself up.
I'm just going to own the fact that I enjoy drinking nice coffee every day.
That's a good thing, John. I mean, if you have the luxury and you can do it, make it happen. So I'm with you.
Treat yourself.
Also, we are sponsored this week by our friend Mitch at BioWheels Fit Studio and Workshop in Cincinnati, offering you a host of bike fitting services intended to provide you with the best custom fit that you could ever have, most efficient, comfortable on your bike. I'm featured in the latest BioWheels ad, but mostly just my butt and right arm. You can't really tell that it's me.
Had to get that in there. Somehow I knew that was coming.
Because you saw the ad and that I tagged myself in it. Yeah, you know. But make sure to check Mitch out. Mitch does an amazing job. He's got people traveling from all over the United States to come see him for his Guru Retool fits. He's amazing at what he does, and also has a host of awesome bikes, Specialized, Moots, and a number of really awesome brands, Cervelo. Get in there if you need to get a new bike and get fit. He's got all his stuff on his website of what he has in stock and what is coming in. So biowheels.com, you can get yourself sorted out.
So I will see your shameless self-promotion, and I will try and raise you by saying that we are also supported by the Ritual All Natural Skincare, which this is near and dear to my heart. This is a company that I founded. I spent 6 months putting together the perfect combination for all natural skincare chamois cream that is sourced locally using all natural ingredients. It is small batch, handmade chamois cream, and it is now being custom blended for you, for your shop or your team right here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Mitch and his wife, Kate, have since taken over the business from me, and they are now making custom labels. You can change the scent. You can change whether it has menthol, how much menthol is in it, depending on how much tingle you want. But get a hold of Doug and I if you are interested in this, and we will put you in contact with the folks at The Ritual, and we will get you some custom chamois cream to go with your coffee, your hand-up gloves, which is coming next, and your new cycling apparel.
Absolutely. And like John said, we are gratefully supported by our awesome friends at Hand Up Gloves. They've been with us since year one, and I cannot tell you how excited we are that they have all this new stuff coming out. I ordered a boatload of things, and they arrive on Thursday. I got new jorts, I got new shorts, I got new socks, and I got probably my favorite gloves ever, Super Strong Bi Energy, and I am feeling it. It is all pink and purple to go with all the pink and purple kit that I apparently have garnered over the past year, which is is basically on brand. So I'm super stoked to have all the stuff. Go check out all their new things, all the new gloves, full finger, full touch, palm, the whole shooting match. No price change on all those exceptional stuff. Go to the link in our show notes and then enter code Pebble $ at checkout to save yourself 10% off everything in store. Fantastic. Even if you're a golfer and you do that on the side, like I'm starting to do, like you can get golf gloves there. Pretty tight. Well, I gotta play golf with the in-laws,
Pretty
man.
Soon you're gonna have like a 3 Series and like pleated khakis.
Slow unless they're twin turbo, son. So nope.
I also did realize that we now have our sponsor, like we have the ad read correct. Like chamois cream comes before gloves. That's I for some reason I just now
we gotta put chamois cream first because then it's gotta be kit.
Right.
You got to do this in the right order or it gets real greasy. And
Yeah. All right. Well, we love hearing from all you guys. So make sure you visit, subscribe to all the social feeds, head to thegravelot.com. This week we have a new article from Pete Hitzman on the Beeline. It is his response to our interview with Rob DiMartini, and he pulls a lot of really interesting content out of it. The folks at USAC have already, we just released it yesterday. They've already reached out to him, so they're going to have a separate conversation with Pete. So go there. You can find new episodes of The Bike Shop Show with Scotty D and Mr. David Palin, The Girls Moving Mountains with Jen Malik and Nikki Peterson.
Killing it.
We are trying to put a bunch of stuff out there for you guys every single day of the week that you can find something new and interesting that you can put in your ears or into your eyes or just into your whatevers. This is... Once you talk about chamois cream, there's really nothing off limits. So whatever. Exactly. Put it everywhere. Just
don't put that in your eyes.
Yeah, no, don't put chamois cream in your eyes, especially if it's the menthol, the one. That's not good. That's real bad.
Don't forget to join our live show every Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch, Facebook, Streamlabs, and YouTube. And send us your questions for upcoming guests.
Cody broke me for a moment there. I just couldn't. I had to mute myself to keep laughing. Our intro and outro music is from Waterboy. Many thanks to him for all the good music. Check him out in the major platforms and click his link in the show notes to get on his tunes. Really good stuff. Super stoked that he's on board this year. So
two parts aside. You can't really get it in your eyes. It's not actually going to hurt anything, but it's going to be really uncomfortable. The menthol. But it won't actually hurt anything. And the chamois cream is amazing pomade because it's beeswax, vegetable oils, shea butter. It's all things that are really good for your skin. I'm gonna take it to the
barber shop and see what they.
You like the 1 4-ounce tub for them would last like 12 months because you need so little of it because there's no fillers. The other thing is one of our comments. 2019 jingle added a gravel race. And this commenter said that's how they got into cyclocross. They signed up for the gravel event, and then they ended up racing the cross race because they were exposed to it. So
interesting.
Un-TM. But whatever.
Just pay Cody, John, and Doug your rights money if you try to do it. We'll send you the address.
We will gladly put it to good use.
Yeah, we'll put it to over here. So, all right. This is an important one, and we need to know what is the best burrito in Sacktown.
Okay. Oh man.
See, complex.
Yeah, there's two good ones. So before, and there's like 2 categories. You got like the taqueria burrito, and then you've got like the new school sort of, it's not in any way fusion, but like just a healthier version of a normal taqueria burrito.
Copy.
So like there's a taqueria El Favorito, just south of the shop would probably be my favorite true taqueria burrito.
Great. So it's like great name. Like that's
and I said it as gringo as possible. Kenny who works here is like 100%.
2 guys living in Ohio right now. You're fine.
Yeah. I usually have Kenny go and order it for me in Spanish just because it's that authentic. That one would be good. And then my other favorite is a little bit more like new school, a little fresher, is a place called Dos Coyotes. That's I've talked about it in the vlog, and I actually had a customer that came from Portland, and he's like, hey, where do I go and get this paella burrito that everybody talks about?
So that's burrito.
Yeah, they do one there. We had it today. Had the YOLO mango burrito. That's at Dos Coyotes. So
I
that's
can't
good.
remember paella burrito. That sounds delicious. I love paella. Paella is amazing. So
Yeah, it's all that just in a burrito. Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. No, nothing extra. Like not trying to mess with flavors. It's just like straight paella wrapped up.
If you have
Yeah.
good ingredients, you don't need to drown it in a bunch of stuff to make it good.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the one I got today is just like fresh grilled chicken and avocado, mango, lettuce, cheese. It's just like, it's a little healthier.
Are you starting to think about dinner over there? I mean, I know we're on a little different timeline, but like you're like, it's late afternoon.
It's 5 o'clock.
Cody's getting hungry.
No, I don't eat dinner till like 8 o'clock. I'm late because we work normally till 6. Now with the time change till 7. I'm here. We're here later, so no, I'm not hungry yet.
Well, now I want a burrito.
You guys are at dinner time.
I actually got two grilled chicken wraps for lunch, and I have one chilling for me, so I've already got it. It's kind of a burrito. Like it's like the size of a Chipotle burrito. So,
all right,
I'm just trying to fit in right now. Story of my life. Okay, so your videos, we talked about them a little bit earlier. You've been averaging like once a month, so for you that's like basically one a year. One a year for the regular folks.
Non-existent.
So do you have any desire to bring them back more regularly, once a week, full time? Like when all this stuff spools back up and the business starts to hopefully die down from what you're required from it, do you want to bring that back?
I do. I definitely have different ideas for it, though. I don't think I'd come back and would just vlog how I did. I sort of, that whole thing kind of ran its course. The number one thing I think I get asked for the most, and still some of my top, well, not still, like definitely are my top doing, trending videos are going to be like tech talk stuff, how-tos, new product stuff. So that's all stuff that I think people really look for on the channel. And I could definitely see it in the backside of YouTube and videos, and I can see what people like and how they respond and what they're looking for, the number of questions I get off of stuff. So I definitely have done a lot just on the shop's Instagram page to keep it rolling. I don't do as much on my personal channel right now, but that type of stuff gets rolling. I try to bring it around and get people stoked at the whole cross fixins series. Try to do something different. And truthfully, I was a little bit surprised that it got no traction at all.
Last year was tough. I watched them, and it was still like, it was at that point where you're like, man, I really want cross to happen, and I really want to feel this vibe, but I'm just not seeing how this is going to happen. So I would be interested to kind of dig into some of those analytics a little bit more, but I don't think it's because
John wants to share his numbers so he can.
It was a bust, man. It was a bust.
But I wouldn't say that it was a bust because the idea isn't worth it. I think it was just like that time last year. There's so many people that I know that are, whether it's, I mean, we had conversations within Wide Angle Podium about this, of like people struggling to get excited about watching bike racing because it's just like, man, I can't.
Yeah,
I can't get into it.
My theory with it was that like we didn't have anything, so one, the number of people looking at screens would be entertainment. Two, they're probably still trying to get fit or, do something to remain, in movement during all of this. So this could kind of spice it up, give you some other options for, your daily routine. But it's kind of a, didn't work very well.
All right. Next one. If you could have only one bike for the rest of your life, what would it be? And it doesn't necessarily need to be a specific bike, but like maybe like a type of bike. What would it be?
Kind of
every time you got on a different bike, someone would push you down.
You're going nowhere. It's funny. I had a different answer. And then I just looked over. I have my hardtail right here. And everybody thought, and I thought as well, if the hardtail was dead. I think I would pick that, a hardtail cross country bike, because in today's era, it goes downhill pretty good. It can do some gravel. I can put slicks on it. I have a set of tires that I ride to work on that are slicks. Like it might be that. Probably hardtail. Yeah. I don't know. I was going to say like the kind of new category of down country, because then it's cross country raceable, downhill trail worthy. But it would definitely be a mountain bike. I guess that's the real answer. 2 bikes that I choose are mountain bikes.
I agree with you, but I feel like I feel like the hardtail kind of, you can kind of do anything with it. Like if you put a dropper on it, you can kind of get away with some stuff. Like
He can get away more than we can.
well, no, I mean Cody rode it is a thing because it's a thing. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, I rode a ton of mountain bike trails on my cross bike with gravel tires on it on this big ride that I did Amanda Panda's Mammoth Tough locally, right? Like this past year. And it was scary as crap riding like legit mountain bike trails on that. But had I done it on a hardtail, I could have done it on a hardtail. It would have been easy. It would have been great. Well, not the pedaling on the road as much, but it would have been fine, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably picked that one. And I thought the hardtail was dead, but not anymore.
Hey, John, what about you?
It's all hyperbole. Okay. So I think the order is, what is it? Madison, Arkansas, Jingle, Madison. So Wisconsin, Arkansas, Iowa. I don't know if whoever made the schedule understands that the United States is bigger than Europe. Because that,
I have my own theory with this.
that is,
No, I want to hear this for sure.
Yeah. So we'll get to your theory after, but one, are you going to them, and are you going to do what sounds to be the norm and pick 2, or are you going to try and hit all 3?
I haven't given that much thought, actually. Like if there's a race, why wouldn't you go to them, I guess? But so yeah, I'm going to them if there's not some silly stipulation where, you know, I don't, because it's in such a weird landscape. I actually don't know all the rules. Like I said, I hadn't looked that far down the road right now. But I mean, I've every year for the last while qualified for the teams based on the qualifications they've had. As long as I still follow the rules, then I definitely will be there.
I can't even imagine that UCI or USAC has that stuff figured out that far ahead yet.
Yeah. I
know USAC doesn't.
I definitely am really curious what's going to happen in this next year as to how cutthroat the decision making gets with these teams, and have it not be based 100% on performance. That's my concern.
Ooh.
Yeah. I just think there's going to be a lot of back scratching that's going to go on. You know, I unfortunately lived through it the first time that Worlds came, and it was on the losing end of the shtick. And so I'm fine with it now. But I just can't believe that there won't be something like that that's going to come into play.
I mean, especially with this weird year off where just a few people went and did some stuff, and maybe that was a hedged bet, but those people all had a bunch of support. Yep. And the ability to kind of make some of that happen. Yeah, this I hadn't thought about that piece of it, Cody. That's going to be really interesting to see play out.
It certainly adds fuel to the fire of like, well, there's no results to speak of, so everybody's.
And I also think that I think the U.S. puts so much emphasis on these World Cups, and the U.S. puts so much emphasis on this Worlds team, and it happens every year that we almost forget about the rest of the calendar. And if you look at the rest of the calendar, there's a massive void in it. You know, it's super front end heavy and it's real back end heavy, but there's nothing in between, which is really going to mean that you have one card to play. And I don't think it's going to be fair for a lot of people like we would normally have in a normal season. You know, you're talking about massive commitments to go to Europe to live and to race over there. And I just think that I'm a total glass half full dude, but I think that chunk of time is going to be where those picks are made. And I don't know if there's a lot of people that are going to have that ability to do that.
It's going to be really interesting to watch happen. We will keep you close in on that conversation because I'm curious to keep my finger on the pulse of what you think as that rolls out.
I mean, like we don't even have any racing in December at all in the US.
No.
So that alone, right?
Yep.
So
it's
going to be interesting.
It definitely sends a message.
Yeah. So which I think is the reasoning that I think what I was going to say real quickly, and I used to always try to be quiet about this, but I don't care anymore. I think that the Europeans want to make it as hard as possible for the Europeans to come to the US, so therefore they prove that they don't have to come here.
I don't think that they've ever hidden that. I think you even saw it when they first came to Cross Vegas. Is there were a lot of them just didn't even go.
Yeah,
And
it's unfortunate because in other sports you have guys who lead the charge in European countries, so stoked to come race in the States, and we have racing in the States, but it's just
And
that's gonna be the problem is they're gonna make it nearly impossible, and the reason why those races are the way that they are is because they're gonna spread and distribute amongst all of them, and they're just gonna make it hard on us.
it's so unfortunate because the amount of fun that they could have here.
Yeah.
Like they could be getting awesome burritos just down the street from
going
you.
to the Iowa football game.
Here's the problem is because it's out there. It's out. You need to come west. I'm telling you.
Right. No, I mean,
Telling you. Ask Laurence Tendam. He came to California and he hung out in Tahoe and in Santa Cruz, and that dude wants to move here.
I don't blame him. It's beautiful. It's lovely. The weather's great. Like, don't get me wrong. Taxes are a bitch, but whatever. Like you get the little bit. Europe taxes are real high too. So you deal with it, right? It's a thing. But I think it is interesting because it's always this international space where there's someone who controls this piece of it. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. Hopefully we get them to still come back, but should be a really interesting year in at least how all that rolls out. So. All right. So the last one, and this is one I thought of earlier.
He already TM'd it, by the way.
I've already
he already put a TM on it.
He's got to give me some sort of nod or something. You don't need to pay me anything. But here's my personal AMA question. You're looking for a big hairy ass goal, right? You want something cool that you can do. Can you mix trucks and bikes on a massive adventure?
Probably fishing.
Is that your thing? And fishing.
Could I or would I if someone did it for me?
No. Can you? You want to build a crazy weird thing? Let's do this.
Yeah, no problem. That's
bikes,
easy, dude.
Fishing.
That's easy, dude. Yeah.
All right. So if you
I've already had numerous people talk to me about doing like bike fishing stuff. Yeah, the truck parts. Yeah, dude.
So what was your basic structure? Give me the pitch. 2 seconds. You have no time to prepare. Go.
It honestly just comes to mind like an easy weekend that I would normally do like up in Downeyville, but you get a base camp up in the woods, up in the mountains, and freaking ride bikes, do some barbecuing, drive a dirt road to get out there and freaking go fish. And yeah, dude, that's easy. To me, that's California living right there, dude.
Click subscribe right there. Boom.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Make sure to hit the notification bell.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Like, dog, you got it right here.
Every Tuesday morning, the new episode drops. That way you can work on it and edit it on Monday. It's just like another weekend in Cali with Cody.
Yeah, weekends with Cody, right? Like,
yeah. It's funny because, when I did the Oregon Trail Race 2 years ago, I brought my stuff with me and I left it in the truck. And I was like, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And I'm like, I'm not going to bring my fly stuff. It's just too much. And the entire time, all 5 days where we camped, we were right next to this river and we had all this downtime on these long summer days. And Sturmy was just like, you are so bummed out right now. I'm like, dude, if I just had this right now, dude. That's the best part. Long bike rides, good food, cold beer, and fishing, dude.
Right. But this is exactly what we got back to in this space, which is telling a story that everybody can identify with, right? And if you can build that dream of something that like makes bikes and the lifestyle accessible, that's actual like legit, and you believe it and it's real for you, like then that's how like legitimately we should hope influencers operate, and it's not fake. Like, hey, you're just sitting at this beautiful triangle, Cody.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that is you're capturing 3 different groups of people and exposing 3 different groups of people to other things. So, I mean, I can't imagine there's many people out there that are into off-roading and fishing and cycling at your level. It's a pretty unique Venn diagram.
I'll drive my runner out there. I can't fish. I might hook you accidentally, but
I'll try real hard. I haven't fished since little kid with my dad, but it sounds cool. And yeah, I'm sure I'll try like hell to get my Outback stuck somewhere.
Heck yeah, dude.
And it gives me and I've been looking for reasons to put like 31s on it and put a lift kit on it, so that'll give me a reason to buy some KO2s.
Dude, done deal. Deal. I like this.
Everyone get vaccinated. We're going to California.
Dude, the bike life, the truck life, the yacht life, dude, it's so good.
I'm feeling it for sure. Dude, Cody, it has just been awesome to spend some time and get to see you again. It sucks that we aren't all in each other's presence, but I guarantee that in 2021 or 22 on the shoulder of that, we're going to get to see each other. So it'll be good to have a reunion at a proper venue for sure. So
most definitely.
Yeah, dude, it's been awesome. Thanks for joining us and being here. We really appreciate taking the time. Enjoy the rest of your shift at the bike shop.
It's been good. I got off for a couple hours, so I enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
We're glad to have done it. Well, everybody, be sure to subscribe, follow, and engage because, as you know, decisions and trails are made by those who show up. So if we don't see you this week, we'll see you next time. Bye, John.
Bye, Doug.